Progressives, this is your trigger warning. Welcome back, and those that are new, welcome. This is a video from Tucker Carlson Network. Tucker right now is on a tour of Australia, speaking tour. And at the end, of course, you're going to get, you thought our press was stupid and liberal and biased and just disingenuous, period. Australia's a little bit worse. So if this is interesting, I wanted you to watch this and see how Tucker, it's a master class, and how you handle dumb or biased reporters. Let's listen.
Tucker, thank you so much for your address today. So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same...
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well...
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show...
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that.
That's the thing. You call them out on it first thing. It happened to me when I was a local elected official in upstate New York. I had my business a block away from the local Progressive Working Families Party, a.k.a. Citizen Action, and they just destroyed my business because of my political beliefs. They twisted everything around. They did it to other councilmen. Both have now passed away, both of those council members, but they did it, ruined their lives as well. So call them out. I just ignored it. That was my mistake. I learned a good lesson. When you call out stupidity and lies, they don't know what to do. It's like you turn the light on and the roaches scatter. Let's listen.
I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
Native-born Americans.
Native-born Americans.
And
Americans who, like black Americans, have been African Americans, have been in the United States for, in many cases, their families over 400 years. And their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there 400 years. So I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time. And you can't cite it.
Untrue.
Are you stupid or something?
I believe that's untrue. She didn't say it was true. I believe it's untrue. I feel it emotionally. My gut tells me that's true. There's no evidence. Zero evidence at all. Zero. I feel that's untrue. Therefore, it's true. That is the dogma. That is the definition of progressives today, not just in the U.S., in this case in Australia as well, which are actually worse. If I feel it's true, then it is true. Let's listen on.
Just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So
you've been lying
let's
about
pull
my
that back.
press
I'm happy
gallery
to explain what I do
well,
think.
So.
Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it. And I'm telling you that to your face, so why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders. And as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who are born in the United States. And the birth rate tells the whole story. They're not at replacement rate. And so the U.S. population is growing because we're importing people from other countries. And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And
exactly right. People are happier generally, the vast majority of the time, if they have children. Their lives are fuller. Emotions come out as a parent. I have 2 children myself. I've been divorced for a long time, but I have 2 children myself, both in their 40s. And one just recently had a son, a new grandson for me, and they're doing really well, and it's fulfilling their lives. It takes up a lot of your life, of course, with young children, but it's one of the most fulfilling things a human being could ever experience. We're not talking about whites. We're not talking about any race at all. We're talking about the birth rate has gone down dramatically. Black Americans are getting screwed over just as much, maybe even a little more, than white Americans. And that's what he's talking about. The birth rates are below equivalency, the replacement rates. We're not replacing our populations. And it's worse around the world. What they say in South Korea, by 2050, I think it was, almost 80% of their population will be gone. Japan's the same way. They're very, very strict on their immigration policies, and they act really quickly on illegal immigrants. Therefore, their replacement rate is much lower than the U.S., and their population is going down. That's a death knell for any country in the West. Any country. Let's listen on.
We don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting. And
well,
I must say, one of the reasons people.
That's how they do it. I didn't call you a racist. I didn't call you a racist at all. Oh, you implied it very strongly, I might add. You'd have to be an idiot and not understand English at all to understand that's exactly what she did. And good for Tucker to call her out. This should be done more and more. And I see some Republicans are starting to do it now. There's a handful, not many, a lot of Republicans in the House and Senate and politicians in general, even business leaders, are starting to slowly come around and say, you know what? You're full of crap. You accuse me of this, you accuse me of that. They did it to all kinds of business people. That's why they put their heads in the sand, or they go along with certain cultural changes. I won't go into detail because this website won't allow it. But call these people out. It's about time. And that's what Trump has been doing since 2015, long before that. Even long before that. Call these people out on their lies and their bullshit. Let's listen to Tucker some more.
Don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the great replacement theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. I've said what I've said to you right now like 100 times in public. I hope to, if I live long enough, say it 100 more times. I think it's completely honest and real, not racist or scary. It's factually true. It's not a theory, it's a fact. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't
And
actually
my
finished my
response is,
question.
no, I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay. Well.
How about no more lying in your questions? And you should have added implications of things that I'm not, and I'll answer your question.
This is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting where an 11 black
Are you stupid or something?
Come on.
Two
You know
white
what I mean?
Americans were killed.
It's now his thinking that the U.S. government should look to its own native-born citizens first, is now having people do mass shootings. Now, by a weird coincidence, the shooter in Buffalo, he was in my store several times. I'm in upstate New York. This individual, this kid, lived right near where I lived, less than 5-6 miles away. And he drove up to Buffalo, which is northwest from where I live in Binghamton, right above the Pennsylvania border, right in the center of upstate New York. And I didn't know this kid personally, but I talked to him a few times. He was in my store a few times. I recognized his face immediately when it came out. So she's implying that mass shooters now are getting their impotence, they're getting pushed on by people like Tucker. This is absolute insanity, and I am so glad. People, everyday people, like you and I, politicians, business people, everybody, elected officials, everyone should listen to this. This is a master class on how you call out these lies and this stupidity.
Like,
It's also
okay,
inspired.
it's not. First of all,
It's inspired one of the worst Australian guns
how do
of
they
all
get
time
people
to
this
shoot
stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well.
Whoops, there it goes. Yep, my brain stopped.
Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I've never.
That's a great line. I'm not calling you personally stupid. Maybe you're just pretending. I love that. It's awesome.
I'm totally against violence. I'm totally against the war in Ukraine, for example, which doubtless you support. And like all dutiful liberals, support more carnage. I don't. I hate mass shootings, actually. Nothing I said, what does it mean to inspire something? My views are not bigoted against any group. They're honest. They're factual. That's not hate. That's reality. And my views derive from my deep concern for Americans, actually. Americans aren't having kids because they can't afford to. And nobody in charge cares. And so that's my position. That doesn't inspire mass shootings. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually?
Exactly right. How dare you? How dare you? This is so awesome. I wish there's a lot of videos similar to this with other people besides Tucker. But it's about time people push back. Push back on this crap. Because the everyday person goes, they watch MSNBC or CNN, and they go, this is crap. And they don't do anything about it. And they hear it in their everyday lives, their coworkers, relatives, family members, friends, even local TV people, and they never push back. Never. You got to start pushing back, folks.
And in fact, I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, Hitler wore those shoes. A lot of people are saying that you're like Hitler. Can you explain those shoes? Hitler wore exactly the same shoes, and you're like, I've got nothing to do with Hitler. Well, that's how I feel about your absurd, disingenuous question.
Right, so therefore you support gun control?
What? I thought it couldn't
don't
get
want any more
dumber, but it
shootings?
did. No, I don't support disarming law-abiding people so they can't defend themselves. So the government has a monopoly on violence? I don't think so.
I love that expression. The government has a monopoly on violence. Excellent. Excellent. This is so well done by Tucker. Let's go listen on.
So, first of all, in my country, that's illegal, as you know. But moreover, it should be illegal in every country. A sovereign person has the right to defend himself and his family. Period. And that said, I'm totally opposed to harming anyone. Anyone. Have you been calling? Are you concerned about the war in Ukraine? And the countless innocents being murdered there every single day? I doubt you are. Probably Putin bad. I am. I'm a Christian. I hate violence. I hate mass shootings. I have guns at home and often on my person when I'm in the United States, I'm proud to say, because I want to defend myself and those I love against violence. That's the point. I'm not perpetrating crimes. I'm not shooting strangers. I'm defending what I love.
In London, they have very strict gun control laws in England. And in London especially, they have strict gun controls. So there's hardly any guns. So what do people do? They want to cause terrorist attacks or harm or try to kill somebody. They use knives. So now they're banning knives and so on and so on and so on. There's a really funny meme I put out. You might want to check it out in my community post where it has a picture on top as an MS-13 gang member. And the caption reads, "Are you going to the drive-by tonight?" And the bottom picture is another MS-13 gang member, and it says, "No, I'm waiting for my permit," being a gun permit. That's the joke. Criminals don't care about permits and laws and anything like that. So gun control will hurt the average person. The average normal citizens just trying to protect themselves. And I have no idea how it's even constitutional that 50 states in the United States have 50 different gun laws. It's amazing to me. But I will say, though, that I believe it's 28 states now have open carry or concealed carry. And it's starting to come around. They don't talk about it much because the media doesn't want to cover it. But anyway, I don't want to digress. Let's listen to the rest.
And if you're against that, I guess I would ask why. Why would you be against that?
Well, so you don't think you harbor any kind of responsibility for these hate crimes?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be charitable. I was like, maybe you're just pretending to be dumb. Now I don't think it's an act.
Excellent. Excellent. Let me give a little round of applause there. It's awesome. Let me see if I can find my applause thing. I thought it was just an act before that you were dumb. Now I'm convinced you are dumb. Awesome.
Tucker, thank you for taking those questions. I'm sure you enjoyed some
Actually, I
questions from the
loved it. I
press.
just feel sorry. I mean, because I got here and the country's so unbelievably beautiful and the people are so cheerful and funny and cool and smart. I'm like, your media's got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss. And then it turns out it's exactly the same, maybe even a tiny bit dumber.
So there you have it, folks. That is a master class in how to handle the lying, disingenuous, progressive media. And I'll tell you the truth, you know who's to blame for all this? People, everyday people, conservative people, everyday average people that aren't bat crap crazy on the left. They've allowed this to infiltrate our schools. Now at the elementary school level, junior high, now called middle school, high school, all of our universities are out deep in it. And we watched it happen. And the premise was, well, when these kids get older and they start living their lives and responsibilities of an adult, they'll come back and see the light. Well, that worked for a long time. But for the last 20, 30 years, that has failed miserably. So I'm not going to blame the kid for a parent allowing it to do stupid things over and over and over. I blame the parent for allowing it to happen. So this is the beginning of pushing back. And the riots, the anti-Israeli riots on college campuses, has taught a good lesson for many, many, many young people. We're at a turning point in this country. We're going to go one way or another, and there's no coming back. There's no compromise on we'll do this and not that. It's going to go one way or another, not just the presidential election, but elections even at the local level. Here in upstate New York, I used to be a member of the local city council as president in 2006, is now filled all 7 with progressive Democrats. All of them. Now, many are much worse than others. Some are almost normal as far as political ideology goes, but it's infiltrated everything. Do I agree with everything Tucker says? Of course not. I don't agree with President Trump, everything he says either, and I'm a big Trump supporter. We're not like progressives. We're not lock and step, or I have to agree with everything that you say or believe in, or I hate you. No, of course not. You don't agree 100% with your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, but you're still with them and you still love them and you still want to be there. But you don't always agree on everything, and you can support people. Anyway, I don't want to get too much off on a tangent. This video is getting longer than it should be. But I wanted to show this is a master class. Conservative people, middle-of-the-road people, take note. We have to start pushing back against this ideology. What do you think? Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.